welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Elle, aka the Melanin Expert. So picking up where we left off last week on the mini wedding series, this week I wanted to talk about something a little bit more fun than last week, and that is locations. Okay, so you've sorted out all the Standesamt-ish, you've got your documents in order, you might have not filed them yet, but you have a date in mind that you want to get married, or unlike us, maybe you want to do the Standesamt even the year before you physically have the party wedding stuff. So either way, you've got your document side of things sorted, and now you're moving on to the fun part, which is locations. And I would definitely recommend looking for a location about a year, even a year and a half in advance, because the more time you have, the more you can plan, the more your guests have time to plan as well. You can send out your save the dates. In general, I feel like the location is the foundation of wedding planning. Once you've got that sorted, you can start to kind of build everything around it. So the way we did it was we kind of had a sit down and we discussed what kind of location we were looking for. Luckily, we were both on the same page, so it wasn't really a big discussion. We're both kind of earthy, greeny kind of people. So we either wanted to go in like a glass house kind of direction, so looking for something that looked like a greenhouse with loads of greenery or greenery outside surrounding the area, or we wanted to go for like a rusticy, like barn type look with a lot of greenery and again fields nearby. So we started looking at locations, and we actually looked at 4 different locations. I'll show you the videos shortly, but we looked at about 4 different locations, and these were the locations we actually considered seriously. We did see about, I think in total 8, but a lot of them were not suitable either because of the day or functionality. But yeah, we basically put 4 in our shortlist, and that's the ones I have videos of. Looking back now, I'll tell you where we went wrong. We should have opened our horizons in the sense of we were looking at locations mainly in Dusseldorf, because we were like, we live in Dusseldorf. We don't want it to be super far for us to travel to. We want to make it easy as well for our relatives that are here, or my husband's family that are here in Germany, because some of them are older. So we wanted it to be as central as possible to Düsseldorf, and that was something we actually didn't need. Looking back now, we could have looked at other cities like Cologne. I don't even know any other cities nearby, but we could have considered more locations, but we were really hyper focused on Düsseldorf, and that's something I would recommend not doing, because it turned out a lot of beautiful locations are actually outside the city. Now that I have friends getting married, I've also just seen weddings in the last couple of years. I've seen some really stunning locations, and I'm absolutely jealous. And I feel like you always will have that. You always think, oh, this could have been better, that could have been better. But I will get into it in another video, but the location could have been 100% better. I don't even want to give a hint to why. That's going to be a whole another video in itself. But generally speaking, I feel like you don't have to hyper focus on where you're based. And I don't know why that was just such a concern for us. At the time it was, but yeah, you live and you learn, right? So before you go to your venue, it's super important to have some discussions with your partner regarding the location and what you're actually looking for, so that you're on the same page and you go there with the same kind of open mind. So firstly, you would have a discussion about the cost. Unfortunately, I feel like in Germany in general, it's super hard to find details on how much it costs to rent a venue from this hour to this hour. There's no information on a lot of the event location websites. Maybe you find one that tells you, maybe like a hotel might tell you, but in general, our experience at the time was none of the venues had any information on this. And when we would call them or email them just to kind of start to get an idea for how much a venue should cost, they wouldn't give us any insights. They were like, oh, you can make an appointment to come see it, and then we can discuss what you're looking for, and give you some more information that way. So it was only after we had an appointment, we went to the venue, we discussed what we wanted, that they would kind of give us an info pamphlet, and then we're able to kind of describe the different categories in terms of prices. So from this hour to this hour, with catering, with drinks, with open bar. So it just varied on so many different things, which I kind of get. But I feel like in England, again, this is me just making a guess because I've not got married in England, but just from at least parties that I've been to, events that I've been to in England, I feel like you get more insights in terms of how much a venue would cost. They will say, from this hour to this hour, there's a flat rate of 3K. or like for anything more, you have to discuss it with the location in further detail. But I feel like in England they're a little bit more upfront, whereas in Germany it's very like closed, and you really have to meet them, discuss everything with them for them to even just give you an insight into what kind of price you're expecting. We of course spoke to like some of our friends that got married, and that kind of helped to give us some kind of ballpark. We knew that it was going to cost like 2+ K for an event location, but really the prices surprised us. I think we went to some places and it was like 5K, 6K, and this is not even like catering, this is not even open bar, this is just like some of it was like very standard, just having like the location being available for like 80 or 100 people. I think at the time we were still considering 80 to 120 people, but like, yeah, this was just like the rough pricing and we were just shocked. But yeah, just discuss the pricing with your partner to have a kind of idea, because of course we had an idea of what we wanted to spend, but we were still going to be flexible, because of course if we go to every event location and we're only wanting to spend like 3K and they're telling us 4K, then we need to shift our pricing a little bit and then adjust something elsewhere in the like whole grand scheme of wedding planning. So I would still have this conversation, because at least if you go to an event location and they're saying like 7K and you want to spend 3K, maybe you can say, okay, this one is out of our budget. It's not even something we're going to consider because we wanted to spend 3, willing to spend a little bit more, but 7 is too much, you know? And that just helps you move along things a little bit faster and kind of rule things out and kind of stay on the same page. So I would definitely discuss pricing first with your partner. Secondly, I would discuss like the hours that you want. So for us, we wanted our location to be available from about 4 in the afternoon to about 2 a.m. the next day. We wanted to party into the night. We had been to a couple weddings where at like 12 at night it just kind of stopped, or like at 11 it stopped, or at 1 a.m. it stopped. And you feel like 1 a.m. isn't bad, but sometimes like when the party's actually going, it actually does affect the like vibes. Of course I get it, like everything has a cost, all of that kind of stuff, but we definitely wanted somewhere at least till like 2 a.m. Because we both like to party, our families like to party. So that's how we kind of made our hours. And it kind of helped when we went to locations, because we said, hey, what time is your venue open till? And there were some locations that I didn't include in the video, but there's some locations where they said like, oh, 12 at night. And then we just decided like, nope, this isn't one for us. Or they have a noise policy, and then after like 1 a.m, no, after 12 at night, they can't have any noise until like 1 a.m. and it would close at 1 a.m. And again, that was a like no-go for us. So definitely have these discussions just so you can be on the same page. The third thing I would discuss is how many people you want to have at the location. Of course, it can still be like a rough estimate, and then you can kind of narrow it down when you're looking at costs and things like that, and actually how many family and friends you want to invite and how many you actually think will come. But yeah, in our head, we were already deciding somewhere between 80 and 120. The reason why there was a bit of a big gap, because I have a huge family, and in Nigeria, in England, when you have a wedding, you invite everyone and their best friends. So actually 120 people, considering half would have been my family, is actually nowhere near enough. Like, just to give you an example, my cousin, he got married and he had a wedding with over 1,000 people. So like, that's the kind of scale we're looking at. And when I said like, yeah, we're gonna have 120 people, they were just like, what? 120 from our side? And I was like, no, in total, including us. So yeah, that's why we had a bit of a like 80 to 120, and in the end we actually like pushed this number all the way down because it was expensive. We had like 80 people I think in the end, or just over 80, but like, it's expensive, it's Europe, it's Germany. So we also wanted to be realistic. We didn't want to have an event or a wedding with over 1,000 people that we didn't know. But yeah, have these conversations, have a rough idea. So again, when you go to the location, you can see if the venue does make sense, because I think one of the first venues we went to, you'll see it in the video shortly, it had, I think it could sit about 80 people comfortably, and that was just a little bit too tight, because even when they said 80, it didn't look like it. And I think they were just trying to persuade us because they knew our number was like 80 to 120, and we still weren't sure. And for us, that was too much of a tight fit, so we didn't go for that location, but it was beautiful. Oops, I didn't want to tell you that, but yeah, anyway, have these conversations, because again, it helps the way you view the venue, and you can kind of start to think, how would the tables kind of look? Where would it be functional? Because that's another thing. When you go to the venue, they're not always decorated in the wedding way, so they won't have all the tables set up, because loads of these venues are multifunctional. They're also used for like parties, birthday parties, they're used for conferences, they're used for like baby showers, they're used for so many other things. So the way they set it up won't always be in like the typical wedding way, the way you see it in America, I think, where it's all laid out and you have a perfect idea of what you're walking into. It's going to be a little bit more functional looking, so you have to do a lot of visualization there. Another thing you should consider when you're going to the venue is basically catering. I feel like that's a really big topic, and it's great to just discuss that right off the bat. So we of course wanted catering, we wanted an open bar. Again, we had no idea on the prices of what this would look like or cost. But yeah, those are two things we definitely wanted, but we wanted to add a special touch, and that was some Nigerian food. So we wanted to make it a little bit more unique and add that like Nigerian touch to the wedding, especially because it was going to be here in Germany. And that's why it was super important for us to understand right off the bat if the venue is open to supplementary catering. So we would do the majority of the catering through the venue if they have a caterer, because most of the time they do have a caterer, and they prefer to use this caterer because the venue is also liable if anything goes wrong. So people get food poisoning and it's a caterer in their venue, that's something they really don't want. And I think they're kind of somehow liable, I don't even know, but that was the feedback we got a lot of the times. And some venues said no, like we don't allow supplementary catering, we don't allow any food, or if we do, it has to be food that doesn't need to be heated. So there were some strict policies around that, and that was really good for us to understand right off the bat, so we could work out, okay, what types of food could we bring to add this like Nigerian touch? Was it even possible? Were there any additional cost involved? How can we look at the logistics? Do they have a fridge available so that when the caterer does come and bring the things, it can sit in the fridge for a little bit? So just little things like that was good to know straight off the bat. And I would say those are the foundations to venue viewing. Have that conversation, discuss these kind of 4 things, and then from there enjoy it, because it's a lot of fun. You feel like, I don't know, you feel kind of bougie, like having a look around, you don't even know what you're looking for, to be honest. But yeah, definitely have these conversations. Also toilets, sorry, this is the 5th thing you should just look at, maybe not discuss, but look at, is toilets. Because I've been to a wedding where there were only like 2 cubicles, one for men and one for women, and it was a nightmare. Like I would have to like hold my pee like the whole time, and I was like really hesitant to go to the bathroom because the queue was so long and I didn't want to miss out on like the actual wedding. And it's a shame things like that happen, but that was something we were also aware of. Okay, making sure that the toilets make sense. If we're going to have 80 people or 100 people, we need to make sure there's at least more than 1 cubicle. So it's something that you wouldn't even consider, but I think when you've been to like an event or a wedding where something like that has happened, it's something that you want to keep an eye out for. And of course there's other things, many other things, but I think this is basically the foundation of what you should look out for or discuss before you go to your event location viewings. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into it. The first location we viewed was called Sturmfrei Buda. I really liked this location. It was really giving like Dusseldorf vibes. It was giving a beautiful overview of Dusseldorf, the city. I'm going to kind of talk you through it. I'm not going to tell you which location we decided on, but I want you guys to guess in the comments. And yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so Sturmfrei Buda, here is the interior. Like I mentioned, it's not set up in the typical wedding way, but basically they said it could sit about 80 people, which I think would have been a tight squeeze, but I absolutely love what it looks like at night. Look at the skylight, like the view is absolutely stunning. I'm very shaky here because I was just trying to capture everything, but yeah, I really like this venue. It was giving gorgeous, like city gorgeous vibes. So then the second location we looked at was called La Deux. It's beautiful, it's giving rustic vibes. It was very different to what we kind of wanted in terms of like the interior decor, to be honest, but the actual venue itself was huge. It had a lot of greenery, also had its own church or its own chapel. We're very like, I would say very religious, so we didn't want to use the chapel there. We wanted to actually get married like in a church, so that didn't make sense for us, but we thought it was such a cute touch. Okay, so without further ado, here we are in La Deux. This is the main room. This would be the dining room. Right now it's giving restaurant vibes because yes, it does double as a restaurant, but this is essentially where you would have dinner, maybe have some of the toast, and it's the first room that you basically walk into. Here you have a getting ready room for the groom. I feel like it's super cute, rustic and functional. You could either choose to lock it off before guests come or basically use it as a cloakroom, but yeah, super, super functional. And here we have the bridal getting ready room. It's giving rustic, it's giving greenhouse, and just know all of this would have bloomed by time July came. Right now it's like October time, so hence why everything's looking a little dead, and you could choose to lock this room off as well. Okay, we have another functional room. It's giving greenhouse, glasshouse vibes. You could choose to cut the cake in this room, make toasts in this room, to have like a picture room or even the dance floor here in this room. So there's just a lot of possibilities here. We could have also chosen to have the dance floor outside here in the space. Just know a lot of the tables and plants can still be moved. So that was one possibility here. All over for this next venue's name, and I honestly could not find it anywhere. I've like Googled and Googled and Googled and tried to do like image search, but I can't find it. So I don't know what it's called, but it was very, very cute. And yeah, without further ado, here it is. Okay, I like this venue. I thought it was so cute, on theme in terms of like rusticness and greenness. It had a super green garden area, which was beautiful. Didn't get any footage of, sorry. But yeah, that was like the main room I just showed you. So that's where like the dancing would take place. And then it's kind of split off into this other area. Upstairs, you could hang coats and stuff, which I kind of liked that everything was kind of away. But yeah, this is the room where you would have dinner. So a lot of visualization needs to take place here. There would be a lot of tables, but essentially this is the dinner room, and then here you've got a better view of it. But yeah, I really, really like this venue. It was given rustic. And then finally our last location, it was called Good Conus, and yeah, here it is. Okay, so this is the bathroom area into the main room. To your left, you have like the bar as well as like where the catering will be. So essentially this is like food and drink area. And then this is like the main room where the tables would be, dance floor would be, everything would be essentially. But yeah, it's giving like barnyard rustic vibes, and outside is super green. Okay, so those super are the four venues that we basically considered seriously. The other ones we got rid of because of a number of different reasons. So for example, we had a beautiful location. It was like a beach one with sand and this indoor space, absolutely gorgeous. But being realistic, we felt like number one, it wasn't in line with the theme that we wanted, which was more greenery, kind of naturey type venue. But also we thought, although the sand was aesthetically pleasing, it probably didn't make much sense in terms of functionality because it's sand, you know, to walk through sand with dress shoes or with heels, to also have the sand drag everywhere with your dress as well, with your trousers, it would be a little bit annoying. Also the venue itself, the indoor space wasn't that big, so we wouldn't have the like dance floor inside, it would end up being outside. And in case it's like super hot, that might be a little bit uncomfortable. And in case it rained, although it's in July, it can still rain. We just didn't want to risk it with that kind of venue, so that one was out. Another venue we got rid of because of like the strict catering policy. Another venue we got rid of because they had a strict like no noise policy after like 12. So we didn't want to have to be like telling our guests to like shh, or like have the possibility of like getting fined or the police getting called. So there was a number of different reasons, but these were the four venues that we considered seriously. I would love to know, which venue would you choose, or which venue do you think we chose in the end? I will let you know probably like in one of the next videos or maybe in the comments. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye.